Cool. Hi, guys.
Hello.
Hi.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah, nice to meet you.
Long-time fan.
Thank you.
Thanks.
You're one of those acts that once people see you live, they become addicted. They want to see you again and again and again.
Cool.
The amount of times I've heard that has been insane. So congratulations.
Nice.
Thanks.
In a way, you know, starting in 2003 feels like a long time ago, but because things just kind of get crazier and crazier for you guys, does it feel like you're just beginning in a way? Like, how are you feeling?
Yeah, we always feel like beginners all the time. One of the reasons is that there's a lot of time passing between each album and each tour, and so far every time we were back on an album cycle or on a tour, the world had changed so much. We've been like through a lot of world mutations between each albums, and also like the time passing makes that we start from scratch almost all the time, and because of the nature of the music we're doing, we know that each new album kind of alienates a part of the audience that liked the previous one.
Right.
But we also have like new people finding out, and this time, especially with Hyperdrama, we saw, we see a lot of younger people. You know, like we play some shows, and sometimes we see like people that are like 20-something, and their parents that are like 40-something, so our age. And it's amazing to see a new generation of people getting into our music. Maybe the same way we did when we were 20 years old and finding out about, I don't want to say older bands, but like bands that started like some generations ago.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You touched on a few points there that I want to kind of get into. You mentioned the gap between records. You know, you've released 4 studio albums in your time so far. Cross, 2007, that was 4 years and 4 months before your next record, Audio Video Disco in 2011. Then it was 5 years, 11 months before you released Woman. Then it was 7 years and 5 months before your latest release, Hyperdrama. The time between the albums has kind of grown in between each record, but I think in a way it's nice because it kind of allows the music to marinate, right? It kind of allows people to sit in the music, feel the music, and learn about the music over that time. How do you embrace, I guess, the time spent between the albums?
Yeah, no, it's what you're saying is it's actually very accurate. It's it's like the music rests in a barrel for a bit. It's like 10 years old barrel aged music, and but we actually we don't know why it takes so much time. We don't see the time passing. We never really take breaks either. It's just that cycles are so long in a way. Like we released Hyperdrama a year ago already. We're gonna be on the road like for to the end of the year. So by the time we will finish the tour, there will be like almost 2 years that will have passed, and then you take a bit of time to do other things also because it's important. And then just like trying to think of an idea, then working on a record, it takes like 2 years, 3 years, something. And then boom, it's been 8 years. And but it's cool. Like we there's a lot of things happening all the time. I think there's like 10 million tracks released each day. And in a way, we are very lucky to be in the space that we occupy, in the position that we have, that we can have like a very small output. We have total freedom on what we're doing, the way we present it, the timings. And for us, it's the best luxury, so it's something we don't want to compromise on, and so far we feel good just living at our pace. And what difference would it make if we were releasing like an album every 2 years? maybe we would be bigger, but maybe not. And would it be for the best? You know, we don't know. We love the position we are in right now so much that we think it's the right way to do it.
I think it's the right way as well, because you mentioned 10 million songs a day. That's so interesting. That's a wild number, and somehow your music still finds its footing.
That was a totally random number. I have no idea.
I wouldn't be surprised, man. I wouldn't be surprised, for real. But it's a testament to the work, because people keep coming back, right? They keep coming back to hear that new record, because at the pace that things are going in the music industry, people do like to get things out like this. But as I say, it's nice that you guys are able to kind of sit with the record, let people sit with the record, let it find its audience. Because I was at Coachella recently and was speaking to a few DJs, and a lot of them were saying, something might not find its audience now, but it could find its audience in 5 years and 10 years and 20 years. Do you think of your music as kind of like a living and breathing thing in that way?
I mean, sometimes it does and sometimes it doesn't, like we also, we have made records that or songs that have taken a bit of time to make an audience. Some never found an audience. People don't always necessarily connect with what we're doing, and that's okay. It's we never know what's gonna happen. The two things that are one thing that's important is that even if there's a few people listening to a song or watching a video, sometimes in those few people there's gonna be not the right people, because there's not right or wrong people, but there's gonna be people that will see it and it can make a difference later. For example, we had sometimes opportunities or stuff like this that was because of one video or one song that was very niche, but there's one person that heard it and I say, oh yeah, this is cool. A good example is, for example, that song called Planisphère. It's a song it's a 17-minute song, so it's very niche instrumental that we made in 2008 that never got released. It got released maybe 4 years ago, something like this. And but one of the person who loved this song was The Weeknd, for example, and that was a big track for him at the time. And so you never know where one specific thing will lead you at some point.
Yeah.
And 10 years later, he used that track for the trailer of his series. Wow. And then we made the track together. So it's so sometimes you plant small things like this. And when we made that song, we knew that it would only interest a very, very, very small amount of people. But sometimes you touch one person like this, and it leads to other things.
And the thing when we make stuff that we would consider more accessible, it doesn't necessarily work. So the only thing that the only thing we know and the only way of proceeding is just to stick with your guts and try to not compromise, because obviously we never really followed the trends, and I guess it's a bit the only guide we have when we do music is just, okay, do we really enjoy this music, and we have very little influence from the outside world.
In an industry that kind of relies on trends, right? And labels and all that, they want people to jump on those trends, but you guys don't seem to. Is it a feeling for you? Is it what feels good to us hopefully resonates with the world? Is that how it works kind of for you guys?
Or at least what feels good to us will resonate with a couple of other people and maybe more. But yeah, like Gaspard said, we have no idea. The world or the people is such a weird concept, because people are made of individuals. Everybody is different. Everybody wants something different. Everybody hears something different in the same track, and we have no idea. The only thing we know is what we like, and that's the only reliable information that we have. So we can just move by the feeling of yeah, do we find it exciting or not?
And also, especially today when it's so easy to get instant feedback from your audience, I guess it's probably the worst situation to create something interesting. Because I mean, if you imagine, I don't know, if the Velvet Underground asked, okay, people, do you wanna hear a song about cocaine, or all those great records wouldn't exist, and so we try to stay as isolated as possible from instant feedback. Yeah.
Wow, that's really interesting. Because I was going to ask about the feedback, and when
Yeah.
you started, people weren't able to quickly tell you what they thought, or
But they're still unable because we keep everything in the closet until it's out. But yeah, like the Velvet Underground is a good example actually, because when you listen to those records, I can imagine oh yeah, but are you sure the drums are not big enough? There should be more low end, or yeah, the lyrics that would be depressing. Right now we need more uplifting songs or whatever. It's cool, you do your thing, and then you see what happens. When you're lucky and it touches some people, when sometimes you have less luck and it touches less people, that's cool, we can't complain.
The pace that the music business is moving is so incredibly fast. I mean, the way that people consume music changes every couple of years, it seems. Yeah. Does that play a role into how you create, thinking, oh, people are going to be listening to this on streaming as opposed to on vinyl or on CD? It's going to sound different when people listen to it through their tinny little headphones. Does that play a role in your creation?
No, it doesn't. The only impact it has is that when we master records, we do one different mastering for the vinyls and one for the digital, and that's really not a big change. But no, same. We don't take that in consideration. We do what feels good to us. The range of systems that people are gonna listen to music to is so diverse that you have to, if you want to make something that sounds good everywhere, you have to compromise on too many things. So and on the record, so I say we don't consider it. We consider it, but we don't make choices affected by that. But for example, we without being too technical, we're gonna make things sound a bit strange, and we know that they sound strange, and they're not gonna translate on a home speaker, for example, a mono home speaker or what. So we know how to make it right and make it viable on all systems. And we decide not to, and we want to keep the experience for optimal conditions, and not compromise on these details, thinking, but for people who are gonna listen to it in mono, we need this type of stuff. So we take some freedoms like this, but I guess it's the same with the film. When you color grade a film, you don't do the same color grading if it's going to be watched streaming on a laptop screen, or if it's going to be projected in a cinema. And it would take too much compromise to adapt something so it looks good everywhere. So you do it for the cinema, and you hope for the best. And
listening to the music in mono is diabolical. I don't know who would want to do that. In a realistic world, how do you want people to listen to your music? Where do you think how do you think it's best consumed?
In a car.
In a car, yeah, it's always a good test for us, even if we don't drive. But we don't have a driver's license, but we love to listen to our music in a car.
Yeah, we always said we make a cruising music.
Nice.
This and at home I listen to music lying on a carpet in my living room. So for me it's the best. You just lie down and you put a record.
record. I like that. I'm a vinyl guy too. I love listening to it on record. There's something special about it. Interesting. You know, we've spoken about the pace that things are going. I'm curious as to what you think about the way that music is being created today. There's so much talk about AI being used in music. Like, obviously, that's something that is very new. Are you a fan? Do you think it ruins things? What's your opinion on all that?
Well, so far we think that we're gonna see it's so unpredictable, and maybe what we're saying now is gonna age horribly in 2 years or in 1 year. So it's
so exponential.
It's very difficult. But so far, like the AI, we tend to see AI like a tool, like other tools. The same way, I don't know, like when there was like the first drum machines, they were meant to replace drummers, and like a 808 was actually designed to replace drummers. It doesn't sound anything like a drummer, but if you put someone good behind a 808, then it can like derive and make something great that no drummer could ever achieve, or no drummer will ever sound like. Drummers can do that. Drummers can do things that drum machines will never be able to replicate, and computers too. You know, like you can put the amount of effort you want into replicating like a real drum. It's never gonna sound as good as a drummer. And now it's been like 50 years that this exists, and it hasn't been topped. So of course it's like impressive and a bit disturbing to hear like AI singing with the voice of Elvis Presley or whatever. It can be scary. Is it good? No, it's not good music. At one end of like a tool like this, you need to have a good prompt and a good sensitivity and a good text. And it's the same with images, you know, like yeah, it's crazy to see like a Ghibli, like a version of like I don't know what actress or what actor. So for a second, it's a bit astounding, and then 10 seconds after that, you forgot completely about this image because it has no meaning, has no purpose. There was no real idea apart from like doing this in the style of that. So we're not too scared for the moment. We see like the silhouette of a tool that can be used in a great way, probably.
Interesting. Yeah, as you say, drum machines were extremely controversial when they came out back in the day. So yeah, let's see how people can use it to the best of their abilities. Hopefully it doesn't lose that heart. You mentioned it doesn't really scare you. Does anything scare you artistically at this point? Is there anything that...
No, but the thing with AI is that obviously you already know that there won't be any user conscience in the sense that if people like a song, they won't care if it has been made by humans or AI. But you know, it's always been like this. You know, it's a bit like the Napster situation. You know, like it's you have to live with the times. But the thing is that with previous like technological revolutions, it could sometimes like lead to a new genre of music. But this time around, yeah, let's wait and see. I don't know.
Wait and see. You know, you guys are masters of sound. And sound
Are we?
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah, I'll let you
thanks.
have that compliment. Pat yourself on the back for that one. When you're layering a track, right, when you're building it from the start, from the very beginning, from the foundation, the bones, how do you kind of decide which element is going to be the heart of the track, is going to be the pulse?
Okay, yeah, the pulse. We call it the drive.
The drive.
Yeah.
Nice.
We in most cases we write songs. It's really rare that we have like the sound that's gonna be used in the final track at the beginning when we write the tunes. So we most of the times we start with like always the same like keyboard sounds that we like because they are easy to write with, and then I guess like the harmonies and the bass give us a sense of the voicing that we want to hear in the like the main composition, and sometimes it's gonna be like a one specific instrument that's gonna allow us to have like to give us this drive. Sometimes it's gonna be the bass, sometimes it's gonna be something else. But this is something that we see when the music is like telling us itself what it needs to be, what needs to be heard mainly.
And when you're in those beginning processes, is there a BPM that you kind of start with? Where do you feel like you guys kind of land?
No, but like for us, like the zone that is the most difficult to make tracks, it's between 120 and 130. It's so difficult.
Why?
Because it's a pace that feels very jumpy to us. When I say jumpy, it's a bit like that gives a movement that is not slow enough or not fast enough. We find it way easier to shoot like below 110 or above 140. So this zone is really like also because a lot of the music we are inspired by, like disco, this type of stuff, has been made in this zone. So when you start playing something in this zone, it always sounds like something we've heard before. Like how many bass lines can you make between 120 and 130 in terms of movement? And actually, this is why some tracks like One Night All Night or After Image, we started them as 180 BPM, something like this, because it was so fast that there's less space to put things in, and it forced us to make things in a different way.
Huh.
Because when you work at 180, so it's like
you're moving.
You can't really like do complicated grooves or whatever. You have really to find like simple, very simple placements that are a bit new for us. And then we were pitching them down until like they reached like the tempo they have now, which is much slower. And that was for us in order to find other placements. So we never start with a specific tempo, but we are always scared when we go into the 120 something zone.
What a fascinating way to work, taking it down. You mentioned The Weeknd. He's obviously a fan. You worked on Wake Me Up together. Do you feel more or less pressure when you're working on someone else's record?
Way less pressure. Yeah. Because we know that the like for us like the most like anxiety-inducing moment of the process of making music is when you have to take the last decisions before it's fixed and the track is gonna be like this forever and you're not gonna be able to change it. So generally it's like when we're mixing it, we know like we're like just like crystallizing something, and when we work on somebody else's record, these decisions don't belong to us. So we do our part, and it's quite early in the beginning, and then we just let it go, and that's not our thing anymore. Like when we're working on that track together, we went by like different versions of everything. Finally, like the release track is nearly identical to the very first demo.
I mean, it's kind of recent that we learned to let it go, This is probably why we didn't do that many collaborations before.
But yeah, like at near the end of the making of that song, like we wouldn't have taken exactly the same decisions as he did. But that's his record, and we're like, fine, it's cool. obviously, like one of us is like the one of the most like listened artists of all times, and one of the other is not. I'll let you guess which one is which. And even without taking this in consideration, even if he was like a brand new artist or whatever, that's his record. He's gonna live with this and not us.
Right.
So we're like, cool, you know. It's we made everything that we had to do, and the most important is that he is happy with this song because he's gonna sing it for the next like 2 years and or more.
Ages, yeah, more.
And it's so we felt like absolutely no pressure working on this record. We're like, we do our part. At some point, we all shake hands. Okay, that's good, and then you finish it.
So how many versions of a track are there then?
Of this track, we stopped. What was it? 9, 8 or 9 versions. Yeah.
And what about a track on one of your records?
I don't even want to start like.
Really, is it crazy? So you consider yourself perfectionists?
No, not perfectionist because we know like there's nothing like nothing is ever perfect. But we it's just that we feel when we start a song we have an idea of not when we start a song, when it starts taking shape and we decide to finish it, we know where we want it to go. And we know how we want to feel when we listen to it, and as long as we don't feel this way, we keep on like we're working and we're gonna try like every possibility that exists until it makes us feel the way we want. And sometimes actually it means like not making it perfect. Like in the last months of making Hyperdrama, because some of the tracks. We started them like 3 years prior to that. So we're in the finishing process and we had like to backtrack so much. We're listening to the first demos and thinking, why does the demo feel better than the final song? And then we were just like trying everything, removing things, re-putting sounds from the demo until we found something. And in some cases, it would mean making it less perfect, sort of.
Why do you think it is then a lot of the times? Because you mentioned with the Weeknd track, you went with the first mix. You say a lot of the times that first mix is kind of, the one. What is it about that first thing? Is it, this is how we were feeling when we came up with this idea? Like, what do you think it is about the magic of number one?
But I mean, when you start like putting things together, like you find a very natural balance. And there's something a bit raw about it, and when you start to over polish things in order for it to sound better, it's it's like a card castle, it can fall apart very quickly and lose the essence of the first draft.
Yeah, also I think because when you demo something, you think really with your guts and musically, without thinking too much like how is it gonna sound like, or maybe I should make the drums bigger or whatever. So everything like falls into place naturally, not all the time, but in most cases, and it's really like there's something instant also that translates the joy of making music, and that joy of making music is very short-lived, because when the demo is finished, then it's not that it's not joyful anymore, but then you enter a process that's much more like pragmatical and technical about okay, like now it's time to edit, produce it, mix it, and everything. We find joy in this too, but it's not the same type of, it's not the same innocence about making music. Then you start like really making it real, which is why also like for us it's like it's not anxiety inducing, but it's a bit more complicated.
I mean, it's obvious how much you care about what you put out. So when you drop something like the new EP, the After Image remix EP that you've just released, various remixes by different artists on there. How do you know who to trust with your track? Like, you're kind of letting them
We don't trust anybody.
No, the remixes we're not in charge of that.
Wow, you just let them have it and say you do you.
No, the you know, we've been signed to the same label for like since the beginning. It's Headbanger Records. That's Pedro Winter's label. For those who don't know Pedro Winter, like we met him in the early 2000s when he was still Daft Punk's manager, and he wanted to start a new venture, like in the form of a record label. And Pedro is still very connected to the club scene, and that's something that's still very important to him. To have remixes and to connect with like clubs and underground scenes and this type of things. So he told us, yeah, give me the keys, and I want to like curate some remixes, and we said, yeah, okay, do it. So that's really his part, and we are not involved in this.
Wow.
Give me the keys to the House Nation.
Yeah.
Then we
for
receive
real.
like the remixes, and some of them we understand, some of them we don't really understand. It's cool, you know. We don't. It's. We trust him like to do his like club versions of the songs, and if he finds joy in that, we're happy to.
Yeah, I like how you kind of describe it as giving him the keys.
It's a risky business.
Right. Well, I mean, you know, I'm presuming for someone to remix your work, you're giving them stems, you're giving them,
Yes.
you know, all of the files. That's quite personal and quite intimate, right?
It is, and it is. Yeah. It's true that we don't really like that, but it's a necessary evil.
Yeah, part of the biz. You know, the visuals are a huge part of what you guys do. When you're creating the sounds, is your mind kind of going where the visuals going to go? Can you see it?
No, but obviously we love music that is as emotional as possible, and that provokes a bit of some. We need something striking emotionally, whether it's radically brutal or very romantic. And this is why we always have this kind of visual ideas, but that come like way later in the process when the songs are finished and everything. But it has to be evocative enough so we can have a visual content alongside the music.
Alongside to kind of marry the music. You know, when you are performing it live and translating it in that new space, does the music feel different in front of a crowd?
Yeah, it does. It does. But like the first reason why is because we transform the tracks a lot when we play them live to make them more instant friendly. We like the music we put on records not to show everything on the first night, you know.
Right.
Live, it has to be instantly impactful. That comes also from the fact that we play a lot of festivals. When we play a lot of festivals, we know that a lot of the audience that's going to attend the show doesn't know us, or they know one song and they don't even know that we made that song. But they have to have fun. Anyways, even if they don't care about us, they have like to understand what's happening and to be absorbed. So in a way, when we play live, we almost do the opposite of what we make on records. Records are very like devoid of any audience considerations. Live is 100% made for the audience, for it to be fun and exciting and to sound huge. So that's one of the reasons why it sounds different. And
records are a romance, and live shows are a why not stand.
Interesting. No, I like that. It's fascinating. As you say, there might be people coming to these things that have heard the name, know the song, but not familiar with your body of work, and you kind of take them there and you introduce them to it in a completely different way. When you get up on stage, everywhere around the world, I'm sure is different. Do you read the crowd pretty quickly, or do you make them follow your lead?
No, we don't adapt to the crowd ever. When we play live, the live show as we make it is it's a show that's made by the millimeter. For us, it's the best. We show them the best way of organizing our catalog. And for us, there's one version of all those songs. That's the best version we can present, with a certain timing, a length, an order, and everything. And for this, it's like what we're playing now. It's the result of almost 17 years of knowing those tracks, knowing that this track it works well at this moment. Knowing those tracks for so long, we know also their best form.
Yeah.
When we inject the new tracks, and it's also our experience as just doing it. So every night we want to present the best version possible, and we know that there's one version of this. So we don't read the crowd. We do it. We hope for the best.
Yeah.
And it's really like going to see like a magic trick show, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Like everything is rehearsed, like every detail. Of course, like when we start playing at the beginning of the tour, as we do it, we learn how to make things better, like more efficient, maybe a bit more fluid and everything. So it changes a bit. We don't have the definitive solution at the beginning of the tour. But for example, now we reached like a point of the tour where we know that, we don't know, but we feel that it's the best version we can do. And now that we found out a way of taking off the handcuffs a bit quicker, so then we can lift the box and get out of water 30 seconds earlier. We do it, you know. So we don't adapt at all.
That's so interesting. So you consider yourself still learning?
Yeah. I've always, and also because playing live is so dependent on the available technologies that every time we go on a new cycle, things that were not possible the tour before are being made possible now, and it changes everything, and that's why also it sounds better and better between each tour. It's because there's all those things that we can do now that we couldn't do 7 years ago when we did our previous tour.
Yeah, wow. And I'm always fascinated by this as well, especially at festivals. Every single person in that crowd, whether it be tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of people, they're all in a different headspace. Every single person in that crowd, no matter how they choose to get to that headspace, is in a different place. Do you think about that at all?
Yeah. We do consider, we take that in consideration in the sense that, as we explained it, we have to make everything very clear. The intention has to be very clear, and it has to sound bigger. The edits have to make sense, and it's way more physical and mathematical, so it can talk to the bigger part of the audience, especially while they are going from one hot dog stand to a squishy stand.
Yeah. Especially at a festival, one act is so vastly different to another. Coachella has played a huge part in your journey and your story. I think I saw you say it was the first festival that booked you. Is that right? One of the first.
No, it's the first live we've ever played was at Coachella.
Wow.
Our first gig.
2007. You've now played it 5 times.
Yes.
Your latest being 2024.
Yeah.
I will never forget being there and just every single person talking about you.
Ah, yeah,
real.
really?
It was
Nice.
unbelievable how much of a stamp that set in particular kind of created for the legacy of that year at the festival. Is it crazy to kind of look back at those 5 different years and think how much bigger your set has got, not only in terms of obviously crowd size, but production? You know, you were talking about how, you know, new technology is constantly available for you to put on better shows every single time. It's kind of in a way a sign of, an indicator of how much you've grown as artists, right?
Well, yes and no, because we are animated by the will of making something better than what we did before. And it's really our only comparison point. Like, we don't compare ourselves to other bands. Like, we're not trying to think, oh, like they make this, so we should make something like that, or what. So our starting point is, okay, what have we done before? What have we learned in the meantime, and how can we make it better for the new tour? But then there's another parameter that enters, is that when we start like preparing for the live show, the album is not out. We have no idea what's gonna happen. We don't even know if like people are gonna listen to the record or are gonna attend like the shows. The only thing we know at that point is that we know like maybe the first like 10 festival offers that we have, and we make this based on that. We're like, okay, so we're gonna play Coachella outdoor stage. How can we make something scaled for that type of stage that is better than what we did before? And we work based on that. So it doesn't mean that we have grown as artists. It's a bit more rational than this. We are just, okay, we know that we're gonna play there, so let's make something good for this place, and then we keep on going.
Yeah, take it to the highest level possible.
But yeah, but actually we got very lucky that we didn't have to scale down everything.
After Coachella, yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting as well, because I think like Coachella, yes, you're playing to an audience, but you're also playing to a live stream, and you're playing to, you know, the million people that are going to watch it on YouTube after the set's complete. Do you think about how it translates on screen as well, or do you stick to stage? You stick to stage.
Yeah, because some of the things we've done for the live show, we know that they look shitty on phones. When you take a picture, it looks. For example, that's one thing that we found when we were like designing the lights with our light designer. So we told him at some point, okay, take like all those lights and just make like a RGB flashing so fast that you're gonna see something white, but it's gonna vibrate because it's like those 3 colors like cycling. This is what we do on One Night All Night. So it makes this kind of like weird white that's almost like epileptical and that flashes in a strange way. So he tried it. And when we saw it in real, we were like, okay, that looks so cool. And we started like taking pictures. And of course, when you take a picture, you have one frame.
Right.
And it's green or blue or red. And that's the basic green, blue or red from the LEDs or the lights. So it looks awful. And when you film it, it's the same. Like depending on how your phone or your camera refreshes, you're not going to see the same thing. So it doesn't work. And we thought, okay, fuck it. Like a live, it's made first and foremost for the people attending. And then too bad if it doesn't look good on a phone or
on the phone.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, concert videos never look good on a phone. But what is your relationship, I guess, to being on stage, putting your heart into the performance, and seeing phones up?
Yeah, that's the way of the world today. But it's just. Like, I'm sure that none of these videos are ever gonna be watched again, so they're just missing out. But I mean, what can you do?
We're not being judgmental on that because like memory is very unreliable. And for example, I like that my memories are not reliable because it kind of puts a blur on something, and it makes me romanticize some things that probably were not as good as I thought, but it's cool. I like to live like this. For other people, it's going to be important to have a token and objective memory of what something was. It's like going to a restaurant, you know. I never took a picture of my plate, and there are still like things I ate like 10 or 20 years ago that I remember. But I like that it's not exactly the truth, you know. It's just like something romanticized by my internal chemistry. And but for some other people, it can be frustrating, and they want to be able to know that, okay, that's what I ate. The plate was like this. It was a sunny day. Maybe it was a rainy day, and now I think it was a sunny day because I liked it so much.
No, but the thing is that most of them, they just want to share it more than remember it. So that's the.
I was just about to say, I feel like a lot of it, you know, you mentioned, people might not watch it again. A lot of it is, let me post this on Instagram.
Yeah,
or let me show that I was at this concert.
There, I
and
ate
bragging
that.
around.
Hey, good for us.
Right, no, it's great for you. It's great promotion, absolutely.
So yeah, I mean, like.
I mean, if we are something worth sharing, you know, that's fine.
That's cool. Like, I think finally people do what they want to do, and we are not the people that are going to tell them, no, you should behave like this or like that or whatever. It's cool, you know, like
If it's us next to a great sashimi platter.
And the other thing is that in many cases it benefits us in a way or another. So what can we do? It's cool.
Right. Yeah, no, it's just how it is these days. It's, you know, it's what happens. The concert starts, phones are up. You know, you have 3 Grammys to your name.
Yeah, that's unbelievable.
It's nice. You won your 3rd earlier this year, Best Dance Electronic Recording for Neverender starring Tame Impala. You obviously don't create for accolades, that's obvious. But what does an award like that kind of add to your mindset of your journey?
It feels great, and Grammys are special to us because it's something that we've known since we were kids.
Yeah,
Not even
so symbolic.
It's like the Academy Awards, you know. It's like whether you work in the cinema industry or not, you know what it is. And for us, it was like Michael Jackson at the Grammys. You know, so it has like it symbolizes something that we. Yeah, that we know since we were kids, and we find it mind-blowing being a French band that we have like Grammys, you know. So it's it feels really good, and we are very not snobs about like awards. We're not like, who cares, you know. We know what it is. We know what it's worth. When we win a Grammy for Never Under, it doesn't mean that it was the best electronic song of the year. If we didn't win for Never Under, it wouldn't have meant that it was not the best song of the year. But it's not what it's about, you know. For us, it's like just people celebrating an artist or a song or something or phenomenon. You know, for example, like this year, for albums, we lost to Charlie XCX. And of course, like we knew that she would get it. And she deserves it, you know, because her album was a phenomenon that trespasses just the borders of an electronic record. Mm-hmm. It was something else, and it's completely deserved, and this is what people want to celebrate at a certain moment, and it feels good, so we were very happy. And working on that song was really easy and fun. We texted like Kevin straight after having the Grammy, and we're so happy that it celebrated something that was very simple and fun to make, you know.
And you mentioned in there, you know, coming from France and watching it growing up and seeing Michael Jackson and this and this and this. So, you know, coming from a country which you're so proud of, do you feel the weight of kind of like, I'm representing my home? Do you think about that at all?
No, not at all.
But when we said coming from France, it was more like just being two French guys in Paris, in the Paris suburbs, was so remote, like growing up from the idea we had of the glamour and glitter of the Grammys. So, but obviously we are very proud to be French, but we don't feel like the responsibility or the burden to live up to the French fantasy.
Yeah, I think it's been I don't know if it's been 15 or 20 years that we don't really consider music anymore in terms of this is like French music or English rock or Australian something, you know. Like music is kind of global, and I guess most people don't really care where it comes from as long as it's fun and good.
Yeah, I mean it transcends language and race and all of that, and gender. It really does.
Definitely,
it's a universal language, you know. To wrap up, what haven't we seen from Justice?
Oh, a lot. a lot, and sometimes we feel a bit like not bad, but we know that the justice thing is a bit opaque, and sometimes we wonder if it's not a bit too opaque. But we like that it's. I like not seeing everything from a band I like. I like that to discover things like years later. I like not to know everything about them. I always take this as an example, but you know, I'm like a big fan of T-Rex, Mark Bolan. And I don't know when in Japan, like 10 years ago, I bought like documentaries about Mark Bolan. And I started watching one of them, and I quit after 10 minutes. I was like, okay, enough. I don't want to know more about this guy. Because I don't need to, like the real persons and what they do, like the output is so different. This is not real life, you know. Like we are grown-ups, like getting dressed up, putting shades and like going on stage to make something. And of course, it's very honest what we're doing, very sincere, and but this is not a reflection of our lives or of ourselves, you know. So we just like keep things a bit separated.
Fascinating. Hey, thank you guys. I appreciate the time. It's
Thank
been a
you
lovely
very much.
conversation.
Thank you.
Thank
Thanks.
you. Congratulations.
That was really good.
It was a lovely conversation.
Yeah.
So much.
Thank you. Appreciate you very much.